everyone. Hope you all are having an amazing day. To make your day even more interesting, we at Intellipaat have brought an interesting video on how to get AWS job.
So before we move on with our live session, please subscribe to our channel.
And also, if you want upcoming updates, please hit the bell icon and also leave a like if you enjoy our content. So in this session, our topic for today is how to get an AWS job. So let us first look at the agenda for today. So first we'll be looking at why AWS, why not any other cloud service? And then we'll look at the steps to learn AWS. And then we'll look at the different certifications and different certification paths which you can take up. And after that, we'll look at the different job roles in AWS. So considering the certifications, you can pick one job role according to it. Let us get started with this particular live. So first, why AWS? So AWS powers businesses in 120 plus countries. So they have AWS running on 20 different geographic regions with 69 availability zones. So basically you can use AWS to run your business and you can have a global reach by using AWS. And AWS has more than 1 million active users every month. And also they have 100,000 plus active customers for AWS every month again. So they are also growing steadily. And AWS currently provides about 170 cloud services, and the number of services are getting increased and the services are getting improved every year again and again. So basically AWS is the number one cloud service, the number one cloud provider in the industry. Amazon dominates the public cloud market. So they have been dominating the public cloud market for the last 10 years. So basically they started in 2006 and they had quite start, and then Azure got released in 2010, and then Google Cloud came and other cloud services came. So Amazon was the first cloud service. Amazon was the first cloud provider who started off with this idea of providing servers for renting purposes. So now Amazon is the number one cloud provider, and in 2019, quarter 3, they had 39% of the public cloud market, and Microsoft Azure had 19%, Google Cloud had 9%, and Alibaba Cloud had 5%, and it goes on. So the worldwide spending on public infrastructure as a service and platform as a service in quarter 3 2019 was up to $20 billion. That is in the last 3 months. Let us take the last 3 months. In the last 3 months, the not just AWS, all the cloud services generated a total of $20 billion in revenue. So and again, according to Simply Hired, Indeed, LinkedIn, and also LinkUp, and there are various other job searching profiles, various other job searching websites. So combining these four, currently there are 7,500 jobs in just AWS Solutions Architect role. So in that particular role, you have 7,500 different jobs across the globe. So there are still a lot of certifications in AWS and a lot of different roles. So just have a guess of how many jobs are available currently in AWS totally. And again, why AWS? AWS hosts a lot of Fortune 500 companies. It hosts Netflix, Reddit, Salesforce, Pinterest, Twitch, and still more. They also host Expedia, they also host NASA. So they host a lot of huge organizations and Fortune 500 companies across the globe. So Netflix is completely hosted and completely migrated to AWS. The entire architecture of Netflix is currently hosted on AWS. And Reddit, Salesforce, Twitch, and Pinterest all have their own architecture on AWS. Twitch is completely owned by Amazon. So obviously the entire Twitch architecture is hosted on AWS. And why they chose AWS? Why does one of the world's best media serving platforms like Netflix choose AWS? Because AWS provides cheap and fast on-demand cloud services, and Netflix wanted that so that they can make their organization better performing and getting better revenues, because they are going to pay AWS for their cloud services and infrastructural needs. So when they pay AWS, they do not have to hire professionals to maintain the hardware, the servers which they have bought and on which the Netflix architecture is hosted on. So same goes with other companies also. For example, Reddit, Salesforce, they have some of their architecture hosted on AWS, and obviously that reduces a lot of expenditure for them. And again, why I'm showing these companies, because if these companies use AWS, obviously there is an opportunity for you. If you learn AWS, you can work for Netflix, Reddit, or Salesforce, or huge organizations in the world. If AWS is part of these companies, if you know AWS, if you become a master in AWS, you can work in Netflix and other Fortune 500 companies and earn a good pay. And again, average salary of a solutions architect. So according to Glassdoor.com, in the USA, it is $222,000 per annum, and in India, it is 7.3 lakhs per annum. So these are the figures provided by Glassdoor.com. So how does Glassdoor.com assume this particular value? So on Glassdoor.com, any person can anonymously provide their salary and their credentials. So basically, an average of all the available salaries are calculated and given to us. It is shown to us. So we can have a good guess about that. Okay, so now we saw why AWS, why not any other cloud service. Now let us look at the steps to learn AWS. Yeah, so first thing you'll have to do is you'll have to learn the cloud and networking fundamentals, because you will be learning how to create an architecture or an infrastructure completely on the cloud service. So for that, you should completely understand the cloud models and the cloud fundamentals, as well as networking fundamentals. Now, coming to AWS, after you learn cloud services and cloud fundamentals, then you will have to move on to AWS. You will have to start off with what is AWS and learn how to sign up with it. So to get started with AWS, it's very simple. It is just like signing up a form for Facebook or Twitter. For any social media site, you'll have to provide your email ID, you'll have to provide your username, and then you'll have to provide your debit or credit card details. So basically, they take 2 rupees or your own currency amount related to the equivalent of 2 rupees. So they take it just for verification whether your debit and credit card details are correct. If it is correct, you will get your profile for AWS and you can start using AWS. So sometimes it takes some time to set up. For example, 2-3 hours might take after you sign up. Then you'll be able to use all the AWS services provided. So debit and credit card details are a must. Without a debit or credit card detail, you cannot log in or you cannot create a AWS profile. And finally, you can go through the exam guides of various certifications and you can go through the white papers which AWS provides. So if you go through the white papers of AWS, it is completely created by someone working on the AWS services and they provide you white papers. So basically the documentations have they have the exact same things which were used to create the AWS services. So for example, if you take one service, let's say S3 or EC2. So if you take any of these services and you want to check the exact working of them, AWS provides a documentation for that. You can go through the AWS documentation for each and every concept of any particular service you take up. And also they provide white papers. So white papers are separate from documentations. White papers provide more valuable information. So for example, the best practices you can do on AWS. For example, you might have an architecture already hosted on your on-premise setup. Now you want to migrate it to AWS. So now AWS provides this white paper where they provide the best practices for migrating. So you'll have to understand how to migrate it and then use those best practices, and accordingly, you will have to migrate your on-premise architecture onto the AWS cloud. So once that is done, you will be good to go. So first, these are the 3 things. These are the 3 steps to learn. Understand the cloud fundamentals, start learning of what is AWS, and then slowly move on to the services which you like to learn first. I would suggest to go with EC2, S3, and RDS in the beginning. So these are the most commonly used services and these are very easy to learn. So first understand these 3 services. Once you understand these three services, you can move on to the other services. So EC2 is called Elastic Compute Cloud. Elastic Compute Cloud, in the sense, they provide you virtual machines running on the cloud. So you can use those virtual machines according to the operating system you choose, and it will be running on the cloud. You can use any device with internet connectivity to access it. S3 is called Simple Storage Service. It is used for storing. Basically, it is like a storage service like OneDrive or Dropbox, but S3 is better than them. You can store virtually unlimited data in it. And then finally, RDS is called a Relational Database Service. So they provide a service on which you can create a database which is running on the cloud, and you can use that endpoint. Now, we saw the steps to learn AWS. Now let us see the different ways of learning it. So the first thing I would suggest is the documentation and other AWS blogs which we provide. So even we have created a complete blog on AWS. You can go through that. It is very informative, and you can go through the official documentation. You can go through white papers. You can go through all of these and gather the valuable information you need, and also practice the tutorials which are provided in those documentations. Second, go through YouTube tutorials. We Intellipaat have provided complete AWS courses on YouTube for free. You can take up those videos and practice AWS completely. We also have added different hands-ons for Lambda, for EC2, for load balancers. There are a lot of hands-ons. You can practice all those hands-ons. And finally, the last step would be to take up an online training, because you might not know where to begin, from which topic to begin. So if you want to take up a online course from scratch which goes till advanced concepts, you can take up one. We provide one. So these are the different ways to learn AWS. One would be going through blogs, the second would be going through YouTube tutorials, and third would be taking up an online training. So I would suggest first get a basic idea of what is AWS and learn some things about AWS before taking up an online training. But if you take up an online training, it would be much easier to go ahead of learning other AWS services. Okay, so now we looked at why AWS, why not any other cloud service? Because it is the number one cloud service in the world, number one cloud provider in the world, and many Fortune 500 companies have their architecture on AWS, so you can have a chance of getting a job in those companies, in your dream companies. And it has AWS Solutions Architect has a lot of jobs available, and the pay is also very high. So now there is not just Solutions Architect, there are various AWS certifications. Now let us look at them. So available AWS certifications. So basically the foundational course would be called Cloud Practitioner. So Cloud Practitioner is not for any specialized certification test. So basically Cloud Practitioner is the most basic exam in AWS. So
just a quick info, guys. If you want to make a career in cloud and DevOps, then Intellipaat provides an advanced certification in cloud computing and DevOps by ENICT Academy IIT Roorkee, and it is taught by IIT Roorkee professors and industry experts. This course is designed to help you upskill and land in your dream job. Now, let's continue with the session.
If you understand the basic cloud concepts, the basic AWS concepts, and have enough IT knowledge, then you can take up Cloud Practitioner and easily clear it. So it is not required that you should take the Cloud Practitioner exam and only then can move on with architect or operations or developer. It's not like that. So basically this is a foundational course, but the associate courses also do not have any prerequisites. So basically you can see 1 year of experience solving problems and implementing solutions using the AWS cloud. So why 1 year in the sense? 1 year might, for example, if you're working in an organization, then 1 year would be sufficient to learn all the services with the enough amount of industry experience. So if you are not working on an AWS role, if you're working on a different role, and sometimes you do not have, or from a technical background, still you can take up one of these AWS certification exams. So basically, you'll have to understand what exactly is each AWS certification exam and learn what is inside that, what you'll have to learn to clear that exam. And if you're confident enough, so basically, anyone from a technical or a non-technical background can directly go to solutions architect. So it is the most popular course or the popular certification in AWS, because solutions architect, as a solutions architect, you do not need much of coding. You just have to understand how to create resilient, highly performant, highly available architectures on the AWS infrastructure. And coming to SysOps administrator. SysOps administrator, in the sense, systems and operations administrator. And developer is basically a person who develops applications on the AWS cloud, or a person who develops applications which are going to be hosted on the AWS cloud. So coming back to SysOps administrator. So a SysOps admin is a person who will administer the servers running on the AWS cloud. So these are three different profiles and these are three different certification exams. So you can take up the AWS Solutions Architect certification first and go up by taking up the Solutions Architect Professional once you have enough experience as a Solutions Architect. Or after taking Solutions Architect, there is no restriction between taking these courses also. You can also take a SysOps admin course. You can also take a developer course. You can go horizontally or you can go vertically. So if you take up solutions architect, the better take would be to take up the professional course after taking up the associate course. So associate, in the sense, so we'll discuss what is the amount of each certification exam, so how much you'll have to pay for that, how much you'll have to pay for the certification exam to take it up, and we'll also discuss other things. So right now, let us discuss the professional courses. So the first one is Solutions Architect Professional. So for a professional, you need much higher experience in designing and operating and troubleshooting solutions. For example, as an associate, you might know how to create a highly performant architecture which is running on the AWS cloud, but you would be expected to be able to provide a solution for a particular problem on the AWS cloud. Let us say you have created an architecture. So now there is a problem somewhere in that architecture. So you should be able to monitor and figure out where exactly that problem is, and you should be able to troubleshoot that solution as soon as possible. So you should have that much experience, and after that, I suggest you can take up the professional certification. If you take up the professional certification, I'm pretty sure you can go up the ladder and become a senior AWS solutions architect or a team lead for your solutions architects. And coming to the SysOps admin and developer, so you can become a DevOps engineer. So DevOps, development and operations engineer. So basically, you can either be an operations guy or you can be a developer guy to take up this particular certification exam. So again, DevOps engineer is a professional certification. For DevOps engineer, you should know a lot of DevOps tools. You should know tools like, for configuration management, you should know Chef, Puppet. You have ops work on AWS, so you should understand that completely. And you should know Docker, Kubernetes, Nginx, Terraform. You should know a lot of DevOps tools. And why DevOps engineer on AWS? Because you should understand and you should be able to use those DevOps tools to create a DevOps lifecycle on the AWS cloud. So you should be launching servers using the AWS services to create a DevOps lifecycle completely and manage it. So these are highly professional courses. And once you are done with professional, so if you're done with your professional examinations of solutions architect or DevOps engineer, you can go to one of these specialty domains if you're good enough, or if you want to become a specialized person in AWS, either in advanced networking or in big data or in security or in machine learning or Alexa skill builder. So you can either directly go to a specialty course, specialty certification from the associate, or you can go up the ladder first and then move on to specialty. So all these certifications are available in AWS, and I would suggest you to take either architect, operations, or developer. So if you're a fresher, I would suggest to take these three. And Intellipaat provides courses on all these three. You can look it up. Now, let us look at the format of all three exams. So the format of all three associate, professional, and specialty exams are multiple choice, multiple answers. So you get questions and you can answer them by choosing them, and also some questions might have multiple answers. So for an associate exam, you will have to provide the exam in a testing center, and these are the same for all the other types, the professional type and the specialty type. But for associate exam, you get 130 minutes to complete the exam. For a professional exam, you get 170 minutes to complete the exam, and again for specialty you get the same. And the cost of the examination would be $150, and the practice exam, if you want, you can take it up before giving the actual exam. It costs you $20. And the examination is available on 4 languages: English, Japanese, Korean, and simplified Chinese. So all of these 3 different types of certifications are available in all 4 languages, but the cost differs and the timing differs. So the cost for the professional and the specialty exams are $300, and for the practice examination you'll have to pay $40 to take it up. So these are the exam details for the certification paths. So if you take up any one of the certification, you should know exactly what you're going to write for. So for example, if you take solutions architect, you should understand all the concepts which are provided in that particular exam guide. Only then you can take up that certification exam. So once you are done and you have a certification and you are confident enough that you can take up an AWS job, I would suggest add it in your resume. Do projects by yourself, do AWS projects by yourself, add them in your resume. So once you add them in your resume, obviously they are going to improve your resume's value. Now, AWS job roles. So let me explain the most common AWS job roles: the solutions architect, the cloud developer, SysOps administrator, senior AWS cloud architect, cloud DevOps engineer, and operational support engineer. So as we know, solutions architect is a person who creates architectures, highly resilient, highly available architectures on the AWS cloud. And for this, it is good enough to take up the AWS Solutions Architect certification exam, because the certification provides you a better stand in front of other people who are applying for the job. And a cloud developer. So for this, you can take up the developer certification. So as a developer, you should know much about the AWS SDKs, AWS CLIs, and APIs. You should know how to code using the AWS SDKs, and how to launch AWS services so that your applications can be hosted successfully on them, and also your applications are highly available and scalable. SysOps administrator. So you will be an admin for the AWS cloud for your company. So it is basically administering your entire company or your entire company's architecture which is running on AWS. So a SysOps admin's main job would be monitoring and reporting. You will have to monitor all the servers, all the services continuously, also have to generate reports continuously. According to that, you will have to provision or troubleshoot the running AWS services. And then senior AWS cloud architect. So it is the same as solutions architect, but as a senior, you will be leading other solutions architect. So basically, you will have to understand how an architecture can be split up and given to multiple people so that each person can work on one particular task. So after doing that, you can put it up together. So you'll have to exactly understand what can be split up in the architecture. And cloud DevOps engineer, yes, you can either be a normal DevOps engineer who uses tools to create DevOps lifecycles instead, or you can become a cloud DevOps engineer who basically again creates DevOps lifecycles using DevOps tools. But for a AWS cloud DevOps engineer, he basically creates a DevOps lifecycle, or she basically creates a DevOps lifecycle on the AWS cloud using the AWS tools or other DevOps tools. And finally, operational support engineer. So an operational support engineer should be able to troubleshoot any kind of an issue which is coming right now on your AWS cloud architecture or your infrastructure or your console. So he should understand, an operational support engineer should be able to understand what exactly goes on the AWS architecture, what problems will occur. He should anticipate it before according to the metrics he gets, and then he should provide support. Basically, another part of a support engineer would be to guide the customers who are currently using the AWS architecture. So these are the various job roles, and according to the certification you take up, according to the learning process you take up, you can apply for one of these jobs. So basically, if you know enough of AWS, take up the examination, clear it if you have the certification, and if you have done some projects on AWS by yourself or working in your company, that add it in your resume that will add a lot of value. Now with your resume, after you're applying for a job, now it's pretty easy. Just prepare for the interview and clear it, you're good to go.
Just a quick info, guys. If you want to make a career in cloud and DevOps, then Intellipaat provides an advanced certification in cloud computing and DevOps by ENICT Academy IIT Roorkee, and it is taught by IIT Roorkee professors and industry experts. This course is designed to help you upskill and land in your dream job.
So guys, we have come to the end of our session. I hope you all enjoyed it. For any questions that you have related to coding, you can mention it in the comment sections below.
So thank you so much for attending this session, and meet you in another session.